transitional period in the whole process of becoming sustainable with the implementation of Sigma. So without knowing what the ultimate goal was in the idea that came out from this, like,
Again, this is, I don't think that's been defined. This is a concept that's been floated that we would like your input on as far
Well,
as.
my input, and I, is, as far as I'm concerned, if we're balanced, that overdraft is coming from us. It's not anybody else's to sell. Okay. We're essentially giving it to you. Now you want to sell it? Number one. Number two, if the goal, I heard the goal is to raise some money, why don't they start taxing the pumping in that? Now, it's up to them to do what they choose to do. I'm not beginning to say. If they charge, they're pumping 200,000 acre feet a year out of the white area. If they had a $200 an acre foot tax, they'd immediately raise $40 million to start buying land out of production or doing projects or anything they want to do. But I'm opposed to monetizing the overdraft.
Can I add a piece? So when they discussed this at the meeting last week, at least what I took from the consultants were that it wasn't the transitional water, whatever you want to call it, the overdraft. It wasn't, the consultants were not looking at using that water as part of the pilot program or the market. It was the actual native groundwater. And I think Greg pointed that out a couple of times, but then there was a lot of back and forth conversation about what should or shouldn't be. But I don't, at least as far as the consultants are concerned, I don't think that the intent was the overdraft, it's the native groundwater.
how do you even identify who's got the right to the overdraft?
Well, that's the exact point. It's that why, and it also, I mean, if you think about it this way, it's like, so if this is a volume of water that can be marketed, so theoretically, the greater the volume, the greater the overdraft, it's a greater volume to be able to market, right? It's a reverse thinking there. Just like MIDs would be zero because we're not overdrafting, so there's no asset to market because it's not an asset, it's an overdraft, it's a negative number. And so,
could add
yeah.
just to Christine's comment, I don't think they'll take it that we've
This
heard
is
that
a-
this is
yes.
anyway a formal program or
Right.
even a proposal at this point. We've just heard that these discussions, like you said, are going back and forth, and we want
Yes.
to be advised on how to weigh in if it comes up in our meetings.
And our growers are concerned because, they're hearing about a market that's going to be created by the overdraft that, and it's a market that they wouldn't get to be a part of because they're not contributing to the overdraft. So it's,
I think there's water rights issues that come into play that will
Right.
place limitations on that anyways.
yes, yeah. So we just wanted to have,
Some
The
of
discussion with our
one of
boards
the
too.
things that goes through my mind, Brian, is some of these abstract ideas. How do you manage these things? How do you ever manage and keep track? And the more convoluted it gets, I mean,
right.
it would be a management nightmare.
Well, and unfortunately, the more convoluted it gets, the harder it's going to be to actually accomplish during this implementation period.
Yeah, the
So
focus
that's a
shifts,
concern.
from implementing projects and programs to trying to manage this massive market.
Okay, so I think we've got clear
We
thoughts,
got, I think we have
recommendation.
consensus on
Yes.
that.
That you were,
I know that.
Okay, you got that? Okay. All right, great. I think we did 3B.
3C, update on the Madera sub-basin coordination agreement.
Okay, so unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information to provide on that. Back in April, the coordination agreement was circulated to the 4 GSAs that are participating in the joint GSP, along with Root Creek, Newstone, and Bradley Fork, who are doing their own GSPs. Because as a reminder, the coordination agreement needs to be signed by those 3 entities doing their own, along with the joint GSP GSAs. And so that was circulated back in April. the county was the one who's leading that effort. They requested comments by May 15th, which was last Wednesday. They didn't receive comments from anybody by that date. They followed up and received comments from Roots Creek this morning. As far as I'm aware, they still haven't received any comments from Bradley Ford or Newstone related to the coordination agreement. So that's the status of that. We really don't have a lot more information on that as far as coordination goes. We have had a couple more technical expert ad hoc meetings to try to discuss some of the methodologies and concepts, just like the one we just discussed. And attendance has been not complete, let's put it that way. So unfortunately, not a lot to report on the coordination agreement or coordination in general.
I guess there are some concerns
Yes.
about achieving an agreement that you can execute in time.
Yes.
Have they been coming to the technical meetings?
And those three entities, Bradley Ford, Newstone, and Root Creek, did not attend our last technical meeting, which was last week. But some of them were on, we had a call this morning, and some of them were on the call. But calls are a little difficult because people come on and off and such during quite some time, So as you know, there's a lot to get done in the next, essentially, month and a half, related to the GSP and such. And so, again, there's some concern related to the timeline. I mean, there's enough to get done just related to the one joint GSP, let alone the coordination amongst the GSPs. And again, the coordination agreement, though, I believe doesn't have to be done until we submit, which is in January. But all of the methodologies and such need to be worked out relatively soon. And so then to piggyback on that, we did receive a letter from Newstone and Root Creek on April 25th. I copied the letters up there, and I'm sorry for those in the audience, but you guys have to have really good eyesight around here. But it essentially discusses different components related to coordination and such. And then the 4 GSAs did respond on May 20th to their letter. And so that letter is available also. So if anybody would like copies of anything, you can see Andrea. But that's just for you guys to be aware of kind of the discussions going on and circulating related to the coordination agreement.
But basically, nothing we can do to keep moving forward with
Yeah, we're just
what
gonna,
we're doing.
yeah, I mean, we're just gonna continue to move forward. We're gonna continue to invite
I mean, they
people
must,
to the meetings to
I'm
discuss.
sure they know that we need to get this done, so.
You're aware.
Yeah. So I believe that's it on 3C.
Okay, 3D, discussion only on developing a policy related to intensive water use in the MID GSA.
So last but not least, so this is just a discussion only, but we do want to have this discussion with the committee and then, potentially take something to the board at a later date. So as you know, the way we're approaching Sigma and the GSA is managing district-wide, right? And not having to go through metering and enforcement and different actions related to individual parcels. With that in mind, though, we have been approached, and we are, something that we do need to discuss is certain industries, commercial, municipal, industrial industries, could theoretically come into the MID GSA and could be highly intensive water use, well beyond the historic ag practice use. And so right now, we don't have a nexus to be able to really look at their water use, what they're planning, and whether to say that if that's acceptable or not within the MID GSA. And so we are looking, and we've discussed this with our legal counsel also, about either creating a policy or maybe even a permitting process related to intensive water use for those type of industries coming in. And again, it would only be intensive water use. So, nothing's defined by any means, but above the historic ag use, the numbers that we've essentially used in our Sigma planning
About
process.
ag use and historic municipal use,
Yeah,
urban use,
intensive water use.
yeah.
So there are industries that we, that we've heard are, looking at parcels within MID, which could, if there's enough of them that arrive in the MID GSA, it could be a significant, water draw from MID GSA.
Well,
So there's obviously existing processes that these type of projects have to go through. But as far as impacts directly to MID within MID GSA, should there be a permitting process or some other mechanism so that we have a say related to those projects?
And this would only be for new projects coming in.
so are we talking about within the MID GSA?
Correct, only the MID GSA.
And this would be a GSA policy or a board
Correct.
policy?
And
MID
more than likely an MID GSA policy, because it would only relate to
Yeah, I
MID
think
GSA.
we ought to develop something.
Yeah, I think I had this concern a while back, because we decided as an MID, we're gonna say, we're gonna take care of the numbers. Everybody can, go on farming as usual. One of my concerns as a wine grape grower and almond grower was that, I get pressure with wineries saying, pull that water off, we're looking for quality. But as an almond grower, gallons of water will get pounds of almonds. So you don't want to necessarily reduce your inputs of water. So within our management, I do see that we're going to have, going forward, different crops that are going to be favorable. And I think once we declare some stability and sustainability, I think we will see the climate or the crops that we grow in our area that will be favoring the reliability of and the amount of water that we have available for growth. So when we talk about intensive use of water, it still goes with, to me, I hear just quantity of use of water. Because if you get someone within the district who chooses to be an annual crop grower and use their crop once a year, they're probably going to be a minimal use water user. But do they reap the benefits of being within the district equal to someone that's going to choose to have a high demand crop or a project or whatever we're discussing as an
It
intensive?
might not be a crop, it might be something
Might not
else.
be a crop.
So 90% of the city is in,
Right.
Not in there, yeah.
But right now, we don't
not in the
have the
GSA,
mechanism
but
right now.
that's why I asked,
Yeah.
is it an MID or?
MID
So what I've heard our board be very strongly saying is related to ground management. Let the growers grow what they want, not coming out of farm. We'll do water management component. But if we get some type of high intensity user that goes well beyond our historic practices, we want to be able to look at that and have a say.
Say we get somebody that needs,
Whatever process.
whatever, let's say 20 acre feet.
But we don't want to, we in no way want to weigh in on you should plant
On ag
a certain
use.
crop
Right.
or go with vines or whatever. Let the growers do what the grower wants to do. It's just the somewhat of an extreme case.
Yeah, so some of the, just concepts to think about are, obviously.
You want to be able to cover something out of the ordinary.
Right, so it'd only be for new coming in, it'd be, it can be limited to commercial, municipal, industrial, so besides ag, solely groundwater reliant or somebody who doesn't show any type of balance. And then setting a threshold for use over a certain amount. Again, that's maybe what historically has been utilized for ag production in the area.
It sounds like a nice idea.
Yeah, my thought would be to recommend to the rest of the board that, to direct staff and our legal counsel to look into drafting something that would cover that kind of instance.
And again, it's not just a arbitrary thought. We have, the district is being approached by different types of industries coming in, so that's why we want to be able to have some kind of process for it.
And I imagine, you'll be approached more
Exactly,
if it seems like that's a good place to
right.
put one of these industries that see a benefit in being involved, and if you don't have anything in place, what's to stop them?
Exactly.
Or to say, hey, we're in a management scenario here, and moving in to occupy, and reap the rewards of our, is understandable, but still doesn't fall within our squiggly line objectives up there about what we have expectations of at this point.
Okay.
Go ahead. Anything else from the public? Anybody have a question about anything? We're adjourned.